الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Surely he sent Nuh to his people. Then he said, O my people, worship Allah. For you there is no God other than him. I fear for you the punishment of a great day. Commentary. Described from the beginning of Surah Al-A'raf up to this point were the subjects of Tawheed, Risala, and Akhirah, the basic principles of Islam. These were approved and affirmed in different ways, and people were persuaded to follow them and warned against taking opposing stands. Then, as a corollary, the guiles of Satan, which make people go astray, were mentioned. Now, from the 8th Ruku section to almost the end of the surah, there is a description of some prophets, may peace be upon them, and of their communities. The subject dealt with here consists of the commonly pursued principles of the Tawheed, Risala, and Akhirah. They all invited their respective communities towards these universal principles, gave them the good news of rewards for those who believed in them, and warned them of punishments for refusing to believe and the sad end they would have for doing so. This description takes about 14 sections, where hundreds of basic and subsidiary rulings were as a corollary. Thus, the present communities were given an opportunity to learn a lesson from the sad end of past communities, and for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this became a source of comfort that this was how things had been with all other prophets. The verses appearing above take a whole ruku of Surah Al-A'raf. It describes the mission of Sayyidina Nuh and the state of the community to which he was sent. Though in the chain of prophets, the first prophet is Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, but his was not the time for confrontation against disbelief and error. In the religious code given to him, most of the injunctions are related to habitation of the land and management of human needs. Disbelief and disbelievers just did not exist. The confrontation against kufr, disbelief, and shirk, associating partners in the divinity of Allah, begin with Sayyidina Nuh. He is, in terms of the mission of prophethood and a code of religious laws, the first Rasul of Allah. In addition to that, people who survived after the drowning of the whole world during the great flood or deluge were Sayyidina Nuh and those with him in the ark. It was through him that the new world was populated. Therefore, he is also referred to as the junior Adam. This is the reason why he appears first in the story of prophets, which has a description of his 950-year-long prophetic struggle, in contrast to the crooked ways of the majority in his community, as a result of which all except a few believers were drowned. Details follow. The first verse begins with the words, Surely we sent Nuh to his people. Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam is in the 8th generation of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, according to a narration of Sayyidina Ibn Abbas appearing in Mustadrak of Hakim. There is an interval of 10 qarn between Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam and Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam. The same has been reported by Tabarani as based on a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, narrated by Sayyidina Abu Dharr, Tafsir Mazhari. A qarn generally means 100 years. Therefore, the interval of time between these two comes to be 1,000 years according to this narration. Ibn Jarir has reported that Sayyidina Nuh was born 826 years after the death of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, and according to a clear statement of the Quran, he reached to an age of 950 years. And according to a hadith, the age of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam is 960 years. Thus, the time from the birth of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam to the death of Sayyidina Nuh comes to be a total of 2,856 years. Mazhari. In some narrations, the real name of Sayyidina Nuh appears as Shakir, while in some others it has been given as Sakan, Abd al-Ghaffar, and still others. Whether his time is before or after Sayyidina Idris, Enoch has been debated. Enoch has been debated. The majority of the Sahaba have said that Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam has appeared before Sayyidina Idris alayhi salam al-Bahr al-Muhit. Based on the narration of Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, reports Mustadrak of Hakim that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said Nuh was invested with the prophethood at the age of 40 years, and after the flood he lived for 60 years. The verse of the Quran, لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا إِلَى قَوْمِهِ, surely we sent Nuh to his people, proves that Sayyidina Nuh was sent as a prophet only to his people. It was not common to the whole world. His people lived in Iraq. They were outwardly civilized but were involved in shirk. The call given by Sayyidina Nuh to his people was, O my people, I worship Allah. For you there is no God other than Him. I fear for you the punishment of a great day. In the first sentence, the invitation given is to worship Allah Ta'ala, which is the essence of the principle. In the second sentence, people have been persuaded to shun shirk and kufr, something which had spread out like some epidemic among these people. In the third sentence, the purpose is to warn people against the danger that great punishment which they would have to face in the event they were to do otherwise. This great punishment could mean the punishment of the hereafter and the punishment of the flood in the present world too.